Welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to teach you the step-by-step process to absolutely changing every aspect of your life in the next 6 months. Let's dive in. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to completely change your life in the next 6 months. And I'm going to give you just a couple steps. I'm going to give you 3 steps of exactly how to do it. And the most important step will probably be something that you may have never thought of before. And so this is for anyone who doesn't have a job. This is for someone who does have a job, but you don't enjoy it. This is for someone who does have a job and it's okay, but you just want something different. I'm going to dive in and talk to you about how to massively overhaul your life in 6 months. Cool? Let's dive into it, okay? Number 1, you have heard me say this if you've been listening for a long time, is you have to get very clear on exactly what it is that you want in this life. Most people have no freaking clue what they want. They have a little bit of an idea, they have a little bit of a vision, but it's like looking at something through like one of those. It's the thing that I'm thinking of immediately is putting frosting tape over a glass window, right? And like you could see shadows walk by, but you don't know who it is that's walking by. That's kind of like people when they're looking at their vision and looking at the life of what it is they want to create. Most people have a very vague shadow idea of what it is that they want to create. But if I said, say it to me in detail, they don't really know. And so what you have to do is you have to get very clear on exactly what it is. And when you think you know what it is, go deeper and say, tell me more. And the reason why is because the clearer that you are, the better that you can visualize it. And you're going to visualize it every single day. You have ultimately brainwashed yourself into believing that the life that you don't want or the life that you want is not possible right now. And what you're going to do is you're going to brainwash yourself into believing it's possible. Visualization is great to be able to see what you want, to believe it, to manifest, all of that stuff. But ultimately what you're doing is you're trying to trick yourself into believing that this shit is actually possible. Because there's a part of you that doesn't believe that it's possible for you to create the life that you want. And so when you visualize it every single day, your brain starts to be like, man, this is possible because I keep seeing it every single day. You get so obsessed and it becomes what I like to call your magnificent obsession. You're just so obsessed with this thing that what you do is you put every ounce of energy, besides the fact of feeding your children and taking them to school and all of that, but you put every ounce of energy into that thing that you're trying to create. You become obsessed with it. And it's really wild. I got a voice message this morning from one of my teammates, team members that works in my company. He's been here for 3 years. And he told me this awesome story. And I always say to people, if I always say stuff like, I used to say this a lot when I used to speak at events. I would sit in front of a group of people and I would say, hey, everybody in the room, what's the percentage chance that you make $1 million this year? And I'd be like, you tell me. And they would say 0% and 0% and 1% and 0% and 2%, and then some crazy person, which would usually be the highest number almost always, was 5%. Oh, I could do it 5%. And then I say, okay, what's the percentage chance of you making $1 million this year legally? And if you don't, everyone that you love dies. And everyone's like, because it's the most extreme example I could give you, right? Everyone's like 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, 1,000%. And I said, that's interesting. The goal didn't change. The time frame didn't change. What changed? Your why, your motivation for doing it. And so I get a voice message this morning from one of my team members, and it was great because he's like, hey, I got to tell you a story that goes exactly what you're talking about having a strong why and having motivation towards something. He goes, I got a call from one of my friends from college, and he said, hey, do you remember, let's just say his name is Chris, right? His name is not Chris, but his friend goes, hey, do you remember Chris from college? And he goes, yeah. And he goes like, Chris was kind of like not motivated guy. He didn't do much with his life. And he's explaining it to me. He goes, Chris was in debt, $40,000 in gambling debt to some bookies who were pretty like hardcore people, like the stuff you see in movies, right? And at the beginning of February, they said, you have to pay us the $40,000 by the end of this month, or else things are going to happen. And there's extreme things that would have happened had he not paid them, right? And so this guy goes, oh my God, I've got like 20 something days, 28, 29 days to be able to pay these people $40,000. I don't have it. And so what did he do? He started thinking outside of the box and not being the same version of himself, but going, holy shit, if I've never done it before, I've got to do something different. So he started thinking outside the box. And so what he started doing, no joke, was dumpster diving to find things. He would find things and then he would sell them to pawn shops. And then he's like, I need to make more money. I need to figure out what else I can do. And so he started going to junkyards and finding things that he could sell. And so he went to junkyards and he was getting bumpers in junkyards and then selling them for more money in other places and eBay and all of this stuff. He got super creative. And guess what? He made over $40,000 and was able to pay the bookies that he owed. Why? Because he owed them $40,000 or he could possibly die. And I said to him, my team member who's on the team, I said, what's crazy about that is he could do that every single month and he would make over $480,000 for the year. He would make over almost $500,000 a year if he just decided to be creative and hustle as hard as he hustled, because he didn't have time. He had to hustle. He didn't think about his worries. He didn't think about his fears. He didn't think about his limiting beliefs. It's like, hey, I need to do this because I want to live. And he was able to luckily pay them back and be able to do it. But it just shows you, like, he decided he's going to have to do something different. He's going to have to be somebody different. And his why behind the goal was so strong, he figured it out. And it's like one of my first mentors, my first coach used to tell me all the time, when your why is strong enough, your how will reveal itself. When you bring your head up in 6 months, you will be a different person. And then you fast forward 5 years, your life is vastly different than if you just decided to stay on the same path that you've been on this entire time. It's only 6 months. You can do anything for 6 months. And I promise you, if you dedicate the next 6 months to you learning, growing, disappearing, and just focus on that thing and taking care of the most important things with your family and with your bills and with your job and all those things. But every free moment is going towards you trying to become the new version of yourself. It's game over. You're a different person. It's a different life. And I promise you, you're going to look back and be like, damn, I'm so glad that I did that. I don't see any person deciding to dedicate the next 6 months to themselves, their self-development, their business development, their personal development, their spiritual development, their emotional development, and being like, oh, that was a waste of time. So if you're up for the challenge, do it. And then send me an email in 6 months and let me know how different your life is. So that's what I got for you for today's episode. If you love this episode, please do me a massive favor. Share it somewhere. Share it with a friend. Share it on your Instagram stories and tag me in it, Rob Dial Jr., ROBDIALJR. The only way this podcast actually grows is from you guys sharing it. This podcast has grown through grassroots, not because we have some huge company that's pushing it out there. And so I greatly appreciate every single time you guys share it, because ultimately it allows us to impact more people's lives, which is really, truly what I just want to do. And allows more people who might need to hear this podcast to be able to hear it. And we are able to change our world in just a little bit of the pocket that we exist here on the podcast. So if you would share it, I would greatly appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to leave you the same way I leave you every single episode. Make it your mission to make somebody else's day better. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have an amazing day.